I woke up the first morning I arrived and set out for a run around Beijing. It's a great way to see a lot of the city, and look, if I'm going to live in a kung fu monastery, I need to be fit. I tried to tell myself it's no big deal, but you can see a palace from the roof of my hostel. So I ran towards there thinking it was the famous Forbidden City. As I approached it, I was buzzing, but as I walked around it, I found some old Chinese people playing games in a square. And I thought, this can't be it. I looked at the map and realised I was in the wrong place, so I started running again. As I got close by, out of the corner of my eye, I saw this nutty looking temple to my left. I was like, yes, now this is the real deal. I climbed up to the temple and gazed down. Before me was an impressive set of palaces, but I swear I remembered from the photos them being a bit bigger. I walked around the other side of the temple and felt pretty silly for even considering any of the previous palaces were what I was looking for. This was the Forbidden City. It is massive. It stretched as far as the eye could see, the home of the Chinese Empire for almost 500 years.
I think it's safe to say that Beijing's a pretty nutty city. So I've been here for a week now, and China has amazed and surprised me in many ways. So I want to share with you guys my first impressions. So here are 3 things that I love about China and 3 things that I love a little less. So if you're going to come to China, you've got to go to the parks. This is Beihai Park in Beijing, and it's pretty beautiful, as you can probably tell. But the great thing is that these parks are used by the locals all the time. There's about 3 choirs singing at the same time. They're all competing for noise. It's hilarious.
As well as choirs, there's this woman doing this ribbon thing. Yeah, I wasn't very good at that, was I? And finally, the classic balance the ball on the badminton racket.
My friends who are studying here tells me this is common throughout the whole of China, and it's a really amazing thing to experience that sense of community. I mean, I feel a little bit patriotic about China just listening to the songs. It also brings me on to my second point. Sure, I've had quite a few grumpy serving staff, but that's probably because I can't speak any Chinese. On the whole, the Chinese people are really friendly. Take the parks. Every time the locals saw me watching, they would ask me to join in. This cool looking dude came over to me and started telling me some words of wisdom. I said, look, I don't speak Chinese, but let me record it so I can understand when I eventually can. What do you want to say?
Unfortunately, we were rudely interrupted.
I'll never know the wisdom he was trying to tell me. Everyone raves about the food, and it's well deserved. This is mala, a type of numbing spice that makes your lips tingle. It's really quite addictive. But there's also quite a lot of questionable stuff. Chicken feet aren't the only less positive thing I've found about China. This is my own fault for not studying Chinese before I came, but it's something that you should bear in mind as well. The language barrier is really debilitating. Back in the UK, having pictures on the menu was seen as trashy.
I've always had one simple rule.
Yes, sir.
Whenever you come across a menu with photographs, get the fuck out of there.
But here it's a lifesaver. Without them, you have no idea what you're getting.
And ultimately, the language is just so different, from the characters to the sounds that are made.
And potentially in other countries this would be less of a problem because people do speak English, but here even most young people don't speak any English. So if you are going to come out, I would really recommend learning at least the basics. It will make your experience much richer. The roads are chaotic to say the least. Even if you are walking on a green man, the bikes will speed through their red light without any hesitation. But the funny part is how chilled the drivers are. I saw a mini crash where a motorbike drove into the back of another one. And in Britain, things would start kicking off, people would start getting angry and shouting at each other. But literally it was like dodgems. The person hit the other and then just kept on going as if nothing happened. So I imagine the locals have got used to it. And finally, pollution. You've probably heard a lot about this, and it's true, there is a lot of pollution here.
The only thing about running is that my eyes are really hurting.
Something interesting that I've noticed is that unlike many Chinese tourists in London and the UK who wear masks a lot, actually the majority of the population here don't wear masks. My friend who studies here said it's because actually people have more important things to think about than the long-term effects of pollution. You can actually see that today is quite polluted, but it doesn't actually affect your day-to-day. It's still lovely to be in this park. Overall, this is really noticeable and it affects your ability to do exercise, but it's more of a problem for the long-term health of the residents here rather than you coming as a tourist. So there you go, they're my first impressions of China and Beijing, and overall I'm really impressed. I was expecting Beijing to be an overpopulated, polluted megacity, but in fact it's very peaceful here and the people live a really good quality of life. I'm really excited to learn more about the Chinese culture and how they live, and I hope you guys found that really interesting. Speak soon.